Hey guys, Rookie Lock here, back once again. I hope everyone's having a great day as always, and today I'd like to do some work on this federal here that I mentioned in the last video. But for those of you that haven't watched that, basically I want to modify it so it accepts these Corbin Russwin large format IC cores. So to do that, first we have to get it to fit, obviously, and second we have to, let's see here, we have to mill out a little slot, basically getting rid of this peak here, but only a little ways down the lock there, so approximately from here to down. I think I came up for a decent way of doing that, but the first thing I had to do, which I'll show here for, I'm sure some people would be curious, first thing I had to do is just literally get the core to fit in the lock. It was not far off at all. In fact, if you compare it to the original core, it's a kick with an adapter. It looks like the same dimensions already, but I did have to do a little bit of sanding, and what I came up with was basically this here. Just took a drill chuck, mounted a Dremel sanding wheel in it, and of course these wheels are high RPM wheels, so if you hold it, it'll just spin, and that's not the shaft spinning in the chuck. It's just the way these are made. They're meant to be spinning at a high rate of speed before you touch it to a piece of metal. So what I had to do was just basically plunge this in, and oop, that was little loose. Where's my key? But you get the idea. I just put that in and take it out and just keep sanding it down until I had something that fit. And now we're at a spot where this perfectly fits in and looks really nice too. I was kind of worried that the gap here would be bigger, which is why I tried to take more material off this area on both sides, more than down under the core. So I tried to focus by pushing up in these areas here. So next step is to hop over on the drill press and see if we can mill out a slot. Yeah, not 100% confident in this, not 100% sure it's going to work, but I'm going to give it my best shot, and I'll show you guys what how I decided to do that. Stand by. Alright guys, so here we are at my drill press with the got the XY table bolted down to it. Probably can barely see that moving, but these handles move it in X and Y, hence the name XY table. So basically that's my setup, and all I'm going to do is lock will be clamped in the vise, obviously. Actually, here, let me clamp this camera down. Yeah, I'm not going to film this because I'm going to use most of my attention on the job, and yeah, it would be pretty hard to film anyway. I don't have a decent tripod and this would be shaking all over the place. Anyway, I'm just gonna explain to you guys what I'm gonna do here, and I'll come back when I'm yeah, close to done, or I'll update you guys in a bit. So basically, no real indicating or anything like that. All gonna be basically by eye. All I'm gonna do is take my core and this is the bit that I'm going to start with anyway. It's just a sandpaper tube, and yeah, I'm going to measure with the core how far down inside the lock I need to go, and I'll just jog in this direction here and slowly cut in that groove. I also have these stones, but quite frankly I've never had very good luck with these. The ones I've used, just even on, well, this is brass, so even on just regular crappy metal, they just eat themselves. You'll wear a slot right into them, or they'll just turn to powder. But I've never tried these specific ones, so maybe they might work in brass. You never know. Gonna check that out. But that's basically the plan, just to oh, not that one. Chuck this up and IO'd a depth for it, and put a depth stop so I don't go too deep. And yeah, my top stop will just be the quill at full retraction there. So I have kind of high hopes for this working. I'll keep you guys updated. Well, guys, I'm back with some good news and some bad news. Where to start? Well, I guess the good news is that it works. I got the core to fit, and I got the core to be retained. One thing that kills me to no end, though, is, and a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, that's no big friggin' deal at all, but when I was here, so I started with this bit, just the sandpaper roll there, and it surprisingly removed a lot of material really fast. As you can see, we have pretty nice, I'm very happy with how that turned out. Pretty nice channel there. But the problem with this was, I probably can't do it by hand, but I would be able to if I loosen up a little bit. So the way these work, when you tighten down this screw, it squashes a piece of rubber, thus expanding it. So when this is shorter than the overall cut we need to take, so I set it right here when the quill was at rest, and I set a stop at the bottom. And what happens when I would go down, it would push the roll, the sandpaper, up a little bit. So luckily I caught it really quick, and I didn't cut anywhere I didn't want to just yet. I then switched to a stone, because the thing with this is the edges weren't perfectly square. You can see here how they would leave a little round edge, and I was hoping that this stone would do a better job, and it did do a better job with that edge. But the problem is, the stone isn't deep enough. So I was feeding down to the bottom of the hole. Stand by that, guys. So I was sanding to the bottom of the hole, or grinding to the bottom of the hole, and what happened was so this was in the mill, obviously. I'm just showing this as an example. The teeth from my drill chuck contacted the lock right here, and that just bugs the hell out of me, because if it wasn't for that, this thing would be perfect. However, I guess there is a saving grace in all this. This fits in here deep enough to where, and it's in there good, guys. It's not wiggling around. It fits in there just deep enough that pretty sure I could just linish off the bottom of this and get rid of that little thing. Might get rid of these letters, but I don't really care about that. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy. Again, I just wish I didn't, you can barely see it on camera, wish I didn't jam this drill chuck into the into the lock there. But we're almost done, just one step left to do, and I think it's probably going to be the funnest part, at least for me. I think it's going to be the most rewarding part, because it'll basically finish up the lock. Yeah, I didn't talk about obviously how to actuate the lock. This is the actuator that sits in the lock, and luckily enough, since this is like oh, there it is. Since this is, I keep calling them Australian kicks, I forget what the designation is, but it comes with this little tailpiece that, well, I have a little paper on it now, but you can see how it would interact, how it would intermesh with this piece here, if the paper weren't on it. So obviously my next step to do is just to drill a couple holes in here, take a couple of 3mm, or I think it's 1/8 inch rod, and yeah, solder those into this this tailpiece, and basically I'll have a working lock after that. Oh, sorry guys. Basically after that I'll have a working lock. So I think I'm gonna do that next. I got a little bit more time to burn, so I'm gonna drill some holes and probably solder it up, and then cut these to final length to where yeah, it's just bottomed out, because there's gonna be like a little space between the actuator and the lock. Could put a little spacer in there if I wanted to, but I don't think it's really necessary. People use 6-pin bests in 7-pin housings all the time without the spacer, so I think it'll be strong enough. So hopefully when I come back I'll have a lock to, I'll probably reassemble it on video here. Hopefully this video is not going to end up being too long. I really have no idea how I wanted to edit it, or how I wanted it to be formatted or whatever. But yeah, I'll be back with that piece, guys. Alright guys, so here we are. It's actually the next day after I did the last clip there. Got everything done. I just have to put it together. Didn't have enough time to film the assembly. So as you can see, I'll try to include a picture too. The milling went great. Alright guys, so here we are. It's actually the next day after I did the last clip there. Got everything done. I just have to put it together. Didn't have enough time to film the assembly. So as you can see, I'll try to include a picture too. The milling went great. The core fits in as I showed you, and I have not assembled it yet. It's the only thing left to do, and I think I'm going to use a little bit of multi-purpose grease there for the ball bearings. Always a good idea, I think. Alright, that should do it. So I guess we'll put the balls in next. Actually, one of them is free to fall out even if I put it in this way, but I'm not sure. I think it's this other side here. We'll figure that out as we go. Put the actuator in like this. Yeah, there we go. Both balls are in place, so we can put the spring in. Actually, that ball needs to be pushed aside, which kind of needs to be done in the unlocked position, so I'll just grab a screwdriver for that. See if I can... Actually, I'm going to take this off camera to do that. Just make it a bit easier for me. Okay, there we go. Got that. And I guess I'll put the shackle in next, which again, the actuator needs to be turned. See if I can do this where I can show you guys. Okay. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Actually, how about this? I'll use the old core. Actually, no, I can't because I need the actuator. I'll have to... There we go, I got it. I guess we'll put in the shackle retaining set screw. This just keeps the shackle from popping out when you open the lock. Yeah, right size. And now we're getting down to the moment of truth here. Okay, put that away. Alright, so we'll put the cam on here, which actually I don't think I don't know if I have a shot of this or not. But yeah, I just drilled some holes in there and soldered these rods in, and everything seems to work. A little tight going in, but yeah, that'll stay on the lock once it's in there. Actually, might need a little whack to get all the way, but that's okay. And this is not an anti-bypass as I thought it was. This is just a limiter, so you don't overstress the spring, I guess. I'll actually just put that on the back of the core here. Should go like that, and let's see if this all works. And then I'll talk about, if it works, hopefully it does, I'll talk about some things that I kind of lucked out on that kind of overlooked, maybe, if it works. If it doesn't work, you might never see this. And oh yeah, this is just a little rough to come out. What's going on there? Let me take another look at this. Okay, so it comes out there. That looks alright. Oh yeah, that works. I'm just... Okay. I guess I was just over rotating it. It is a little rough coming in and out, and I think that's probably because I might not have the right size springs. But besides that, I'm sure if I put the right springs it'll be a bit smoother. Maybe put some dry lube in here. So that's all good. Control. So yeah, the only thing with this is getting that that anti-bypass in there, and yeah, one of the things I think I lucked out on, and I looked very closely at this on the other lock, when this cam is on this lock, or this tailpiece I should say, it ends up turning on an angle like that. And if you know how sometimes you have those padlocks that you kind of have to turn a little bit to get the core to seat all the way, that would be one big issue if you didn't do this right, because with the control you can't jiggle it to get it in. You have to have that cam just at the right angle already to you know what I mean, to seat all the way, to clear the actuator all the way in. Looks like I did a decent enough job at that. So yeah, that's basically done. Again, a little bummed out about that tiny little scratch there, but I'm pretty sure I could linish off the bottom of this. It's only, yeah, it's not deep at all, maybe a couple less than 10,000ths for sure. And yeah, I'm sure I could clean that right up. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. I think I got pretty lucky on the way I eyed out the depth for the notch, the cutout there, and yeah, it looks pretty well done. Aside from a few scratches, it looks probably exactly how it would normally look in commercially available ones. So that's pretty awesome. Hopefully this, actually I'm looking at this video now, just the reassembly took 8 minutes, so this might be a bit of a longer video, but hopefully it comes out the way I kind of intended it to. Any questions, guys? Don't be shy to ask. Always love to help people out. And besides that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.